Now, tell me about the controversy about the Dubai viral chocolate.
Okay.
Okay,
Where do you
hold
want
that
to start?
thought. We're going to stop here.
This is Challenger Brands, helping you build better brands and businesses. Hosted by Illustrato, the brand development and creative agency for ambitious and audacious challenger brands.
Welcome to another episode of Challenger Brands, where we help entrepreneurs and brand custodians build better brands and businesses. I'm your host, Lelaine Chu Benitez, Managing Director here at Illustrato Brand Development and Creative Agency. And in this episode, we're going to talk about a lot of sweet things today because our special guest is all about $1,000,000 sweets. Our guest today is the divine Chef Nouel Catis. Chef, it's so great to have you in our show.
It's great to be here, Lelaine. You know, I always enjoy talking about sweets and more than sweets.
I'm super excited, Chef. And I'm sure that you have a lot of great things that people can learn about that you can share with us today. But before that, let me just introduce you properly. So Chef Nouel Catis is an acclaimed international heritage pastry chef. You have to explain this to us later on, right? Why is it a heritage pastry chef? We know that your strength is in combining flavor alchemy with regional palate. And because of that, you've created a lot of $1,000,000 desserts that are being enjoyed in the markets, you know, around the
Correct.
GCC. And hopefully we'll get to the bottom of that, how you create those multi-million-dollar sensations. Chef is also behind the recipe of the Dubai viral chocolate, which became a global sensation, Chef. That was an exciting, you know, development in your life, right?
Super exciting.
Super exciting. And
Unimaginable.
Unimaginable. And you'll tell us the secret later on. Okay? So in this episode, I know that for a lot of people, creating something that can sell millions of dollars is no easy feat, but you make it look easy.
Easy, yeah.
Right? And maybe I'm just using that word, right? But honestly, it's not easy. But let's get into that, Chef, right? So first of all, if you're going to be starting a recipe or developing a new product that you hope will be selling millions of dollars in the market, where do you start?
It always starts with, and that's the reason why I call myself as a heritage pastry chef, because everything starts with memory of childhood. And that's where I always go back to. And I deliver this during my TED Talk as well, that the most important thing is really to tap on our nostalgia. And 99.9 or even 100% of the time, when I present something that's based off on nostalgia, it works. I mean, it gets the 99.9% approval from clients.
Why do you think that's so strong?
It's, you know, food is about emotions.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a communal thing. And apart from being a need, when you eat something, it just takes you back to a time in your life where probably you spent with, you know, with your grandmother or father or whoever it is special to you. And food is a language. So when you tap on those memories, you connect straight away to what you're eating. And if you're delivering something that connects you to that memory, it is an instant joy. So it gives you a kind of gratification.
I love that. Instant joy.
Exactly. And it's gratification that's not just about the taste, but it's actually what you feel inside. And that's the most important part.
Actually, I haven't heard that, you know, a lot from a lot of people, that saying nostalgia is like the key, right?
Correct.
And if I'm going to interpret that for other businesses, for example, that are not in the food scape, I think what we're really saying here is that there's a resonance, there's a connection. So you start from that connection because that's what makes it sell.
Correct. 100%.
Am I right? Yeah?
That's correct.
Because if it doesn't connect, it will not, you know, there won't be any passion for it.
100%.
Right?
And that's
so
how it works.
I love the way that you describe nostalgia and instant joy. It really makes a lot of sense.
And you know, before I came here, actually, we were developing a flavor for the National Day. And my chef, Sasha, she asked like, Chef, can we add Rice Krispies or anything else? And I told her, look, it doesn't connect with the Emiratis' childhood memory. So if you add that and they take a bite, probably it will just take them about a typical morning with cereals, but doesn't have to do anything with their childhood memory. So we need to be very intentional when we put something in our recipes, because it does go a long way. Because again, nostalgia is about a childhood memory or a memory in the past where it took you to a trip down memory lane, and it just excites your memory and also your feelings.
I love that. That's such a great insight. Now, you've always mentioned that your craft, right, is a mixture of artistry and science. Can you tell us more about this?
Okay, so I actually started cooking when I was young, but I failed. My siblings weren't so happy with my cooking. But
What was your favorite
well,
dish?
I think
Sorry, I have to
okay,
ask.
kare kare is my number one favorite. It's my go-to dish.
Kare kare.
And I attempted it when I was like in high school, and I just failed miserably. But I saw that my mom was collecting cookbooks, baking books, and I started baking, and it was just natural for me. And you know, when you deal with baking, it's an exact science because you have to measure everything, and at the same time, it's also about artistry, since you need to make food look good. And especially with pastry, it has to look really good because everything is calculated. Like for example, when I plate something, I know it looks easy. I use odd numbers. When I put, let's say, a garnish, it has to be like 3 pieces of strawberries or 5 pieces of raspberry, because this is how you create art. And that's why everything is really intentional whatever I do. That's why science and
I
artistry
like how
are together.
technical you make that sound, right?
Yes.
But in a domain like you said, baking is about, it's an exact science, right?
Yes.
2 cups of this, 1 cup of that.
Exactly.
How can you innovate apart from the design? If it has to be super, super exact, how much room is there for innovation there?
Innovation is, especially with regards to pastry, it's very tough. I just want to be honest about it. And it's not everyone's cup of tea. Like everyone could just Google up a recipe and they just copy it. But in my case, I love, probably because my father was actually an inventor himself, and I got that kind of knack for thinking out of the box. So whenever I see a recipe, I need to make sure that I own that recipe, and the only way to own it is to innovate. So I always have to think, what are the many ways I could make a pancake so different from what originally it is? And that's where innovation comes in. And you can do a lot of innovation, but you do need time to research as well and also to experiment. But innovation can really take you to places.
I can imagine. I mean, I'm the kind of person who always says that innovation should be a practice.
Exactly.
It's not a special project that you undertake once a year, right?
Yes.
So this is something that you keep doing. And
Correct.
I can imagine, having seen your kitchen, how playful, your team is trying out different things, right? Now, let me backtrack, Chef, about this whole nostalgia thing and how you understand the market. Because obviously you got into that because you understood that nostalgia equals passion, right? Nostalgia equals joy. Now, you're having a very, very specific leadership moment in the Middle East right now, in the GCC. How did you get into that space where you understand the regional palate if you're not even Arab, if you're not from the region? How did you get there?
Up to now, I just want to be honest with you. I really don't know how I got there, but I do know the process I took for me to change the way I was before.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone can relate to this.
Yes.
When you approach a chef, there is a bigger chance they always are so protective about what they do, their artistry. And sometimes people call it as ego. And in my case, I did have that ego as well before because, I would say, I know better than you. Like, why would you say something bad about what I'm baking or cooking? The thing is, I told myself, if I don't get over that space, how can I actually become a bigger person? Or how can I actually become somebody else, not just like anyone else? And I really had to, it was actually a moment when I was still flying with Etihad. I was an in-flight chef. So a group of Kuwaiti businessmen, they came over. And it was my first kind of interaction with somebody who comes really from the region, who has a strong, I would say, they have a strong F&B base, and they're called as the yardstick for all food and beverage places around Middle East. And it tested my wits about baking. So when I presented to them what I thought was the best, they said, "Chef, this is so French. Like, if you want to do French, we could go to Paris." And I said, "But that's the best thing like I've ever done in my life. Like, everybody loves it." They said, "Yes, everyone loves it, but it will not work in our region." So I was deciding between leaving or staying with them. But then I decided if I don't take this challenge, I'll just gonna be any other chef. So I broke myself down into pieces from a French, inclined chef into somebody who I now call as the heritage pastry chef, because I value someone else's culture. And that's when I was able to take up that space, and I just kept owning that space until it grew bigger. More people got to know what I do from that Kuwaiti group, and it just became more of a validation that yes, this is a niche that I can really thrive in. And up to now, has always been key to my success. So this is how you actually break boundaries, by just embracing other people's culture and also not being in that safe space of being I am the best chef and no one can touch me. No, I don't really believe in that all the time. Maybe it works for some people, but for me, I don't believe in having that ego to guide you in your journey as a chef. So I don't.
I mean, that's the key to learning, right?
Exactly.
When we break down our ego, and I think you've done such a good job, and it's been validated over and over again, right? To
Correct.
create one pastry that has sold multi-millions.
Exactly.
Is one thing, but to have created so many,
About 4,000 plus already.
4,000 plus, and then a
Recipes,
lot
yes.
of them are creating so much revenue in the market.
Exactly.
That's not, it's not a fluke.
No, it's not.
It's not by chance,
No,
right?
it's not by chance.
You'll tell us the secret later on. I'll shake it out of you.
Okay.
But before that, Chef, how long did it take you, for you to be able to say that, okay, I have a handle on the Middle Eastern palate, at least with sweets? What did it take? I know that you broke down your ego, but
Yes.
in practice, like if somebody needs to learn about this.
Okay,
how-
the journey.
Yeah.
So that was like back in 2015. It took me probably, I would say, a good 4 years or even more.
Okay.
Because in 2018, I started opening my business as solopreneur, but even during the time, I was still in a journey. I was still learning. It took me like a good half a century to really go to that point where you say, this is it. Like, this is the formula, and I'm going to stick to it. And I'm going to defend myself because it really worked 100% of the time.
And for all of you guys watching out there or listening right now, even if you're not in the food business, what Chef is really telling us is that we need to master our craft, understand our target audience, understand what makes them happy, and by doing so, we will create better products, right?
100%.
So it's an amazing thing. Now, okay, you've created a recipe. What's next? From the concept of the recipe now going into the market, are there things that you do with your team to help this new recipe to be what do you call this? To be accepted by the people easily? Are
Well-
there any steps after that recipe is created?
When you create a recipe, you mean how do we make sure that it also works in the market, right?
Exactly. How does it become marketable?
So, okay, the funny story here is when I'm approached by clients, and it's always happening like 80% of the time, is they say, Chef, we have this much of disposable income. We want to be entrepreneurs in the F&B field. Do something viral. And for me, that's a very funny moment because it's not really up to me. You need to invest in your brand. You need to invest in marketing, advertising, and always persevering in what you do. And then things could become viral. But I won't guarantee that. The only guarantee I can give you is that this recipe was made out of nostalgia, out of what works based off on my formula. And if you take this to a notch or two higher, it could be another viral thing. But again, the guarantee is not within me. It's always about persevering, like making sure you get your branding right and believing in your own product. Then it will translate into something of a commercial success. But even if how good my recipe is, but you don't back it up, it will just be another recipe.
I like the humility there and how realistic you are, because what you're saying here is that here I'm giving you a great product that's born out of understanding of the market that I know will make people happy. Now you make the most out of it, right?
Exactly.
Because if you don't do your job, no matter how good that product is, right?
It's not going to work.
Exactly. But I like the fact that it is a repeatable thing.
Yes.
Chef, what are the hallmarks that you're looking for apart from nostalgia that will make you say this is going to be successful?
In this age and time, and that's the reason why all of my team members are all from a certain generation because I believe this is the future.
Yeah.
And I listen to them very well. So I never like taking my phone out and take pictures of my food because it's just a waste of time. You just want to enjoy it. But I learned that this is the way to move forward, to record the experiences, because now we are so visual. We are all over the internet now. And this is one of the other things you need to consider, is not just having a delicious dessert, because we are so visual. When we see food on the table, the first thing we do is assess the dessert based on its image. And so you need to make sure the Instagrammability of a dessert or a recipe. So it has to be first visual, and your dessert or the taste or the flavors you created should match the image. So I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of things happening around where they make it so viral, you know, they push so hard, but technically it's not really something you would like to eat again. So that dessert that looks good must also taste good, because you want repeat business, right?
Yeah.
If there's no repeat business, then it fails.
Yeah.
It's not a commercial success.
Yeah.
So I'm very particular about making sure, even if they tell me, chef, just make it look good. No, I have to make sure it looks good and also it tastes
Of
good, because
course,
I want
yeah.
them to come back for it, not just because of how it looks.
Yeah.
So again, they want to be able to record the experience, and as well when they eat it, they know it's good. Then they want to have it again.
Now that you said that, you know, this reminds me of certain viral sweets, for example, that people have had in Tokyo or something.
Yes.
It looks amazing, and then when they have it, I'm not saying that Tokyo doesn't have good sweets. There are a
Yes.
lot of good sweets out there, but there was this one particular video I saw. The person had it, and they were very disappointed, but it looked really good.
Yes.
So it's so important, you know.
It
It's not
is.
just visual; it also has to taste
It has
good.
to stand on its own. Yeah.
Exactly. So again, for the people out there who are not in a food business, you have to deliver the goods. You know,
Exactly.
don't just deliver a great looking product, but it should also be of good quality.
Exactly. You have to come back for it.
What about experience, chef? Because I've seen
Yeah.
in a lot of your creation, there's this sort of interactivity connected to the consumption of that,
Yes.
you know, piece of sweet. What about, is that intentional or?
It is intentional,
Yeah.
because I think now we have a lot of museums or places where you go there for the experience of it. Could be so visually driven, or could have like a 3D kind of experience, like even in the cinema you have this air blowing off on your face, or you know, some rainfall inside the cinema. And it's the same thing with food. That's how I translate it to food experiences, where you sit down and actually a lot of things happen before you, because it's part of that experience, where you can have something that maybe is cracking or melting down, or something that probably will create some kind of a steam or you know, smoke, because this is where we're headed for. And you need to be able to really deliver something that has everything, and it's the toughest thing to do, but that's what also I enjoy doing a lot. That's why artistry and science, they go together
And
very well.
this is where you can really become playful, right?
Exactly.
And like you said, you know, because people are, you know, we're in such a visual and experiential world
Yes.
right now. If you experience something, then chances are you will remember it better.
Correct. Yes.
So that's really amazing. How do we scale for success, chef? Okay, you've created the recipe. Now we have to give it to, I don't know, millions of people out there. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are going to consume this. How do we make sure that the recipe that you created is going to scale properly?
That's a very, very good question,
Yeah.
Lalaine. I've been through, I wouldn't say hell, but almost close to hell before. And it was a hard lesson
Yeah.
learned. And it was just out of pure, I would say, audacity to be successful. And there were investors who said, Chef, let's scale up your brand. And I said yes, without even doing,
Yeah.
you know, what I should have done before. And the point is that when you start something, even if how small it is, make sure you set it up for success by thinking that, is this something that's scalable, or is it reliant on one person? If it's reliant on one person, if that person disappears, your
Yes.
business collapses, right?
True.
So you need, like, for example, for me, I want to make sure that what I create, it's just not something that I can replicate with my own hands. It should be something that is comfortable enough for other people or other chefs to replicate, because if you can't, it's hard to scale it up. And scaling up is all about systems. It's all about understanding the rudiments of what you're doing, and really understanding that other people could probably find it difficult to do. So you have to use, again, technology. You have to use what's available around you to be able to like easily translate one recipe into like a million recipes. So this is how strategic I would look into it. So this is really important. You need to start from the very beginning in thinking how I could make 1,000 pieces out of just one recipe.
Because this can make or break you.
Exactly. You should start backwards.
Reverse engineer
Yes,
it,
reverse
right?
engineering.
Supposed to. Okay, chef. Now tell me about the controversy about the Dubai viral chocolate.
Okay.
Okay,
Where do you
hold
want
that
to start?
thought. We're gonna stop here. I sound so show busy now. Just kidding. Anyway, we will thank our supporters first. Rove Hotels, thank you so much for always supporting us.
This is Challenger Brands. Please subscribe to our channel and share our content. Follow us on our agency's social media pages, illustrato.co, on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, or subscribe to our newsletter via our website, www.illustrato.co. Thank you to our sponsors for today's episode. Rove Hotels. Rove Hotels are a jumping-off point for city explorers, simply designed for the young and young at heart. Born in Dubai, Rove is an award-winning lifestyle brand offering well-designed hotels, fuss-free service, and great value in well-connected locations. More than just a bed for the night, Rove provides rovers, the missing link to connect you to the city like a local, and explore the track less trodden in a relaxed environment where you can be yourself. With sustainability, local art, and high-performing functionality at the heart of its brand, Rove represents a new niche of hospitality for the digital nomad looking to become part of the neighborhood, even when they're just passing through. Please check them out at Rove Hotel.
Goodness, I can't stop my face from aching now because I'm laughing so hard, Chef. Chef, before I ask you about that Dubai viral chocolate, right? Okay, like for example, the Dubai viral chocolate, so many people copied it already.
Right.
So many people copied it. What keeps you ahead in the game? How do you ensure that you're always differentiated, Chef? Because I know you've done a lot of things and these things can be copied, right? So
Right.
how do you keep yourself differentiated?
It's being authentic and being original, and no one can copy that because it's something that comes from inside you and your core as a person as well. And when you use that to your advantage, I don't get scared. I don't believe in trade secrets anymore. And I don't believe in secrets in general, especially with recipes, because a lot of businessmen are worried that when they hire somebody and I train them how to make the recipes, they said they're going to steal it. Let them steal it. Because at the end of the day, they are not the original person who created it. They don't know what was the reason why it was created and what were the reasons why the flavors were there in the first place.
I love that.
So that's why you need to just take it all in and know that no one else can be as you.
They cannot.
Not better, but no one can be like you.
They can take the recipe, but they
Yes.
cannot take you.
Exactly.
They're not you,
No.
right? And you can always create something
Exactly.
new, right?
Yes.
Now about the Dubai viral chocolate. First, tell us how this became a global sensation. What happened here?
I believe this idea during the time, it was the pandemic in 2021. It was a very novel idea. And although I've seen it happen in other countries, but to bring it to Dubai was something very ambitious. And that was when I actually co-founded the brand along with my friend. And the idea was, let's create something that's unique to the Middle East. Something that they would just not buy because it's a piece of chocolate, but actually it reflects the dessert experiences around the area. And that's when it was born. So we signed an agreement together, we registered the brand, and then we created the products. So I made initially, I think, about 5 recipes. We call it the hero flavors. And the Kunafa was just one of them. And that was the one that went really viral. So during the time, nobody could, like I said, nobody could say if it's going to work in the market or not. People will always doubt. And that's always when people who doubt about something, that tends to become something else after a few years. So again, you just need to persevere. You need to keep believing in it. But after around a year, I had to choose between an investment that was way bigger than I've thought. And I thought, I was ready for it. So I took that bigger slice and I left the partnership for the viral fixed chocolate. So but even then, during the time, because I was really invested, because it's your baby as well. So I was always helping out in making sure that the process was correct. So I was going to the kitchen, helping the new chef to develop the recipes, guiding him until it just became what it is right now.
I mean, it's your baby. It came
Correct.
from your brain and
Exactly.
your heart,
Yes.
right? And
Especially.
I feel like even if that influencer who stumbled upon this
Yes.
chocolate that allowed it to become viral, even if that was not discovered, it's still a pretty good recipe.
It is. It is.
It's still very novel. It's still
It is.
very innovative, right?
That's correct.
So, Chef, what did you learn? I know that this probably did not turn out the way you were envisioning this project would turn out. What was your learning? What did you learn?
Well, the learning here is, what I always say in my life is, people always say, you could have done this, or you could have done it better. But the thing is, in every textbook or every successful businessman in this world who probably has shared his life story, the journey about how he took a lot of mistakes before becoming successful, I think everyone has just to embrace the journey. Because for me, for example, I need to experience that kind of failure for me to really realize how painful it is. And
You're very gracious. You're very gracious.
So it's just how I believe in my life, that yes, there are textbooks telling me not to do 1, 2, 3, but there are things that is probably within my control, but I still want to do it because I want to dip my foot in there to really say, yes, I've done it, and yes, it's really hot waters. But the thing is, the important thing for me is, what is my takeaway?
Yeah.
Because what I always believe, a person who commits a mistake is forgivable, but if you do it again, then you're stupid.
I get that.
Yeah. So that's
Of
one
course, I
of
like that,
that's so
yeah.
important to me. Like, just don't repeat the same
Yeah.
mistake, then you'll be okay.
What will you say to people who need to protect their intellectual property? Because you've already seen its pitfalls. You were not able to protect
Yes.
your own intellectual property. So what are you going to say to the others?
I know that getting somebody, a professional, to help you out in making sure the paperwork is done may cost money, but that is part of your investment. And you need to protect yourself. You need to get the paperwork done, due diligence. Because without protection, anything can happen, just like what happened to me. It could be taken in many ways. So the takeaway here is, you need to really get a lawyer, or at least somebody who can draft a contract, and you get it signed together, because this will go a long, long way in your life. Regardless if it's going to fail or it's going to be successful, as long as you have that agreement, it binds you, and that will protect you for whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it did not turn out very well, but I gotta say that I love the fact that people recognize you as the creator of the recipe. So I give that to you. That's
Thank you.
that's awfully serendipitous, and I think that's the universe getting things
Exactly.
right.
Yes.
So you're being acknowledged, and I've seen a lot of media outlets talking about you, and I'm so happy.
I'm very happy too, but in the beginning, I really didn't think it would turn out to be like this, but I'm also grateful at the same time, because it is a validating moment that people do support, they do listen, if they know that it's coming from pure purpose, coming from passion, coming from love. People feel that in you. And when they see that energy, they just come together and say, Chef, we are behind you. We want you to continue leading the path towards innovation.
And honestly, I feel like you have something bigger waiting for you than just a billboard on Sheikh Zayed
Yes.
Road featuring that chocolate, right?
That's right.
What chef can you share with us that's cooking in the future for you? What's baking in the oven that we can look forward to? Whatever you can share at this stage, yeah?
Of course. There are a lot of things, because apart from being a creative, apart from being a chef, I also love being an icon of aspiration for for a lot of people, because I do love to leave a legacy behind, and it's just for the simple, pure purpose of uplifting other people. And it could come in various ways, whether I have a brand, let's say a bakery line, or a chocolate line, and which is in the works right now. And the other thing is also being a thought leader, and someone who really motivates people, because a lot of people are waiting for you to inspire them, and actually they're looking up to you. If you don't take that cup with you and keep it full, then I believe personally that I failed. And has always been my mission since I was really young. I just want to be very inspirational, aspirational, and also just to lead the way so that other people can also follow you and be you as well in the future.
Chef, what's your advice for entrepreneurs right now who are going through tough times and, they're struggling, they can't find the right product market fit, they don't know if they're going to be able to sell their products in the market, they're very uncertain, their future is a cloud. What can you say to them? What's the advice?
Based off on my own journey, did I doubt myself before? Sometimes. I would say 1% of the time, but 99% of that is all about faith in you. The faith you have in something that you're doing, and just being true to what you're doing. Trust your core. You will never get lost. Just be authentic, because when you're authentic, people tend to be drawn towards you. And then when these people are drawn towards you, these people could be the key to your success. I will never doubt that. And I always believe that things happen for a reason. So if you're going through a tough time, sometimes what you need to do is just take a break, take a step back, but just don't forget what really is your calling. Like, what really do you want to achieve? If it's something just out of someone else's dream and you want to do it as well, but it doesn't resonate to you in a deeper level, then don't do it. Just do something that it's authentic, it's natural, and everything will fall into place, because that's what my journey has been.
Words that you live by.
Words that I live by, there's a lot.
Okay, let's try it.
I always just go with just being authentic.
Be authentic.
Yes.
One more question before we go. I've seen you grow from strength to strength, right? We were talking like this, barely a year ago.
Barely a year, yes.
And I was just telling you that the way you have transformed into somebody who's so confident and certain about what he's doing and what he's out there for is stunning. How did you go through that journey, and what can people learn from you? How did you get so strong in this?
I believe it's really more about the universe coming together. I always believe in that. I believe in energies as well, and just putting out those aspirations, and also believing that at some point, whatever you've done in the past, it actually prepares you for today or the future. And that's why I always say success is not something that's happening out of luck. Success is actually what you've been doing from the past, and they just keep compiling, and it's just overflows, and that's success. And what I always think about is just have to stick to really your core, and nothing's gonna fail you. And the light bulb moment for me when I decided to really pivot was when I was on a show, and I was told by seasoned investors and businessmen that I'm ready. It's just that I was looking outwardly instead of inwardly. And that moment, it really struck me hard. When I started to look inwardly, I realized I have so much to offer. I've done so many things in my life that I'm ready to actually just blow out.
That's amazing. What's your one-word motto in life?
Believe.
Believe. I love that. What's your favorite skincare?
A lot of stuff. Maybe Korean skincare.
Thank you so much, Chef. This was such an enjoyable conversation. More power to you. I wish you all the best. Keep on being that gracious person, grace under fire. Yes. That's what I see in you. And I wish that everybody in the world can enjoy your sweets.
Thank you.
And to our listeners and the people watching out there, guys, remember what you've learned from Chef Nouel. Nostalgia or connection with your target audience is super, super powerful. Right. What else did we learn? Be authentic and believe. And that's it for today. Thank you so much, Chef.
Thank you too. Let's go snapping.
This was so fun. Time flew just like that.
Yes.
Hope to see you again. And
same here.
Don't be a stranger. We'll talk to you again one of these days, when you're launching.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lelaine.
Super. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see you in the next episode of Challenger Brands. Bye-bye.
Please subscribe to our channel and share our content. For more actionable insights on brand and business building, follow us on our agency's social media pages, illustrato.co, or subscribe to our newsletter via our website, www.illustrato.co.